Libra, beloved soul of balance and quiet strength, something is coming and it has never happened to anyone before. And yes, it's scary. But even more than that, it is sacred. If you're here, it means the universe is speaking to you in whispers. Or maybe it's not whispering anymore, maybe it's roaring through your chest, through signs, through strange dreams, repeating numbers, or that subtle pressure you felt lately that something is about to shift. This isn't a coincidence. This is a divine appointment. Welcome to Zodiac Whisper Tarot. You've been guided here for a reason, by intuition, by longing, by a force that doesn't operate on logic. This is not just another horoscope reading. This is a spiritual transmission for Libra's soul message wrapped in prophecy, designed only for those who can feel it deep in their bones. I need you to hear this. What you're about to experience, no one else around you has ever faced. It will challenge the very way you understand timing, purpose, and identity. But if you stay with me through the next few minutes, you will walk away not only with answers but with peace. You see, something sacred is unfolding. And right now, the divine is watching, waiting to see if you're ready to step into it. God doesn't wait for perfection. He waits for authenticity. And that, Libra, is why you've been chosen. Have you felt like someone or something has been observing you lately, not in fear, but in silence? That's not your imagination. That's spiritual surveillance. You're being evaluated by heaven and tested by history. What you choose now will ripple far beyond you. And so before we move further, I want to ask you something important. Have you been seeing 555, 111, or 222 lately? Dreaming of doors, water, or light? Feeling like there's something trying to speak to you through the fog? If you're nodding quietly to yourself right now, I want you to write in the comments below, I received this message in divine timing. Write it not for me, but for you. It's your declaration. It tells the universe that you're no longer asleep at the gate, you're awake, present, and ready. And while we're here together in this sacred space, allow me to say this from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Thank you for your presence, for your likes, for your shares, for your words, for simply choosing to be here. Every interaction, every soul that finds this channel, breathes life into what we're building here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot. This isn't just content. It's communion. You are not a passive viewer. You are a co-creator in this sacred conversation. And your willingness to show up, to comment, to listen, to reflect is the very fuel that makes this message expand to others who need it just as much. So stay with me until the end of this video. Not because I said so, but because deep down, you already know that something important is going to be revealed, something you were meant to hear before the week is over. Take a breath. Feel that? That's not anxiety. That's alignment. Let's begin. There are moments in life when you don't need anyone to tell you that something is shifting, you just feel it. It's not dramatic, not loud. It's subtle, like a change in the air right before a storm rolls in. And Libra, if you've been feeling like something is watching, like something unseen has been lingering just beyond the veil of your ordinary days, then you're not imagining it. You're simply perceiving what most people have tuned out. Many of you may be noticing things that don't seem logical at first glance, repeating numbers like 555 or 777 showing up again and again, flickers of light when no one's around, or dreams that seem to echo with messages even after you wake. This isn't superstition. This is your intuition tuning itself to a frequency that's not new but newly available to you. You're becoming more sensitive to what is real beyond the surface, and that is not something to fear. It's something to honor. In the realm of numerology, the number 7 is often seen as the number of divine alignment, spiritual awakening, and introspection. It shows up when the soul is being gently pushed to look deeper beneath the distractions, beneath the timelines, beneath what's comfortable. The presence of 7 days, 7 moments, or even 7 encounters, isn't random. It's a rhythm and invitation from the deeper layers of your being to slow down, tune in, and begin asking the questions you've been avoiding. Not to find answers right away, but to be open to receiving them when the timing is right. I'm not here to make predictions for the sake of drama or to dazzle you with mystical phrases. I'm here to remind you that you already know. Somewhere in your breath, in the way your stomach tightens before you enter a certain room, in the way your heart responds to particular words or names, there's a quiet recognition that you are standing at the edge of something. And though no one around you may understand, that doesn't make it less real. It's okay to not be able to explain why you feel like crying out of nowhere, or why you've lost interest in things that once brought you comfort. Those are signs that your spirit is outgrowing a previous version of yourself. You're not broken. You're evolving. And it's messy sometimes. But that's how light works. It doesn't burst and it softens you open. In many faith traditions, including Christian wisdom passed down through generations, there are quiet moments when people realize they are being watched over, not for surveillance, but for care. There's a knowing that settles deep in the bones that even when you can't see how it all fits, something larger, kinder, and far more precise is unfolding behind the scenes. The shift you're sensing, Libra, is not external, it's an inner preparation for something deeply meaningful. So don't rush past the patterns. Don't dismiss the timing. If you find yourself drawn to certain words, symbols, or memories that come up more than once, write them down. Speak them out loud. Bring them into awareness, not to solve them, but to respect them. The more you notice, the more the path reveals itself. This is your invitation to step beyond what is visible. And if you've been feeling isolated in this experience, remember those who walk closest to the light often walk alone at first. But eventually, others will recognize that glow in you, even if they don't understand how it got there. If any of this resonates, if you've had a dream lately that you can't shake or a question that keeps circling back, comment below and share it. What you write may unlock not just your own insight, but serve as confirmation for someone else silently searching for the same door. Let's hold space for the mystery together. There are moments in life when the silence around you feels almost too loud, when the stillness isn't peaceful, but charged. That's because something is happening behind the scenes, Libra. Not in your external world just yet, but in the realm where decisions are made before they manifest. The truth is, you're not only being being observed. But not in a way that should make you afraid. You are, in a sense, standing before a sacred council. Imagine a room beyond time, where light and shadow both have a seat. Where your guardian forces, those unseen hands that have pulled you back from the edge more than once, are locked in quiet debate with your old fears, your past patterns, your unhealed stories. The conversation is not about your worth. That's never been in question. The debate is about your readiness. Are you ready to rise beyond the version of you that survived? And begin to live as the one who leads? This isn't just spiritual poetry, it's the real terrain of transformation. You might feel this judgment not through words, but through tests showing up in your daily life. A person from your past reappears not to heal you, but to test whether you've already healed. A decision you thought you made long ago returns for a final answer. An old fear whispers, "Are you really done with me?" And when this happens, it's not a punishment. It's a mirror. One last check-in to see if the chains are still attached or if you've truly set yourself free. There's a quiet wisdom in how life works. Just like the story of Job, one of the oldest spiritual tales of faith under fire, you may feel like you're being pressed on all sides. Not because you've done something wrong, but because, like Job, you're being entrusted with something sacred. His trials weren't signs of divine absence, they were evidence of divine confidence. What if your current challenge is not the universe punishing you, but rather placing a deep trust in your ability to evolve? And here's what many forget: the miracle doesn't come before the pain. It follows it. Liberation doesn't feel like winning. It often feels like grieving. But when you face what you were afraid to feel, when you stop running and stand still long enough for the wound to breathe, something holy happens. The karmic ties unravel. The fear loses its form. And the weight that you thought was part of who you are simply dissolves. You don't have to do this perfectly. You only have to do it honestly. If someone from your past returns, and all your instincts scream, shut down, pause. Feel. Ask yourself, is this fear speaking, or is this a sign I've outgrown the cage? You may not need to let them back in, but you do need to let go of what they still hold inside you. This is the sacred alchemy of forgiveness, not the permission for others to hurt you again, but the permission you give yourself to no longer carry the pain. If you've recently looked someone in the eye, maybe in real life or maybe just in your memory, and whispered to yourself, "I release you," then share that energy with us. Comment below, "I have let go. I am ready." Let your declaration be a marker. Not just for the universe, but for yourself. For every choice you make after this one, for every boundary you set from a healed heart, for every door you gently close to protect your peace. No lightning will strike. No trumpet will sound. But deep within, the council will go silent. Because your soul has spoken, and the judgment will turn into blessing. Some fears aren't loud. They don't scream or shake the walls. They arrive quietly, like a still breath just before the wind picks up. And Libra, I want you to pay attention to this particular kind of fear, the one you can't quite name, the one that feels like a whisper threading its way through your chest at 2 a.m., when everything else has gone still. That fear isn't here to paralyze you. It's here to point the way. It's a map. One written in a language your soul knew before you had words. What you're feeling is not imagined. Many of you have recently found yourselves waking from strange dreams, not frightening necessarily, but vivid, charged. You may have caught glimpses of water, bridges, soft light, or shadows that felt like they were trying to speak, but never used words. Perhaps in the middle of a perfectly ordinary day, a sudden flash of light caught your eye, or a strange flutter in your chest pulled you out of your thoughts. Maybe you've been finding feathers in places where they shouldn't be, or a coin shows up exactly where your gaze lands when your mind is asking for a sign. These are not coincidences. In energy work, we call them activation codes, subtle signals from your higher self, or from life itself, letting you know that something is trying to turn on inside you. Like a seed that has waited years beneath the soil for the exact right combination of warmth, light, and timing, your soul is preparing to bloom in a way it never has before. And fear, in this context, is not the enemy. It's the edge. The doorway. There's a reason why the things that scare us the most often hold the greatest keys. It's because on the other side of those fears lives something we've never touched before. Not because we're unworthy of it, but because we weren't ready to hold it. And now, Libra, the timing has shifted. You're ready. But you must choose to cross the threshold. You must say yes to the stirrings. And most of all, you must stop dismissing what your body and energy are trying to tell you. Have you noticed your heartbeat shifting when you think about something specific? Or a wave of heat rolling through your chest when someone speaks truth near you? That's your field adjusting to a higher resonance. It doesn't always feel comfortable, but it's incredibly real. In the busy rhythm of daily life, we often silence these inner cues. We override our emotions, we intellectualize our instincts, we call our goosebumps just a coincidence. But what if you stopped doing that even just for one day? What if you paused and said, "What is this trying to show me?" That pause alone is a sacred act. A moment where faith can enter the conversation, not religious faith necessarily, but the kind that whispers, "Maybe life is more connected than I've allowed myself to believe." If you ignore these signs, they don't punish you, but they do fade. Like a song that plays softly in the background until it gets drowned out by noise. And the truth is, when you continually silence the invitations of your own soul, a part of you begins to sleep. Not in a scary, dramatic way, but in a quiet loss of potential, of depth, of joy. That's what's truly frightening. Not monsters in the dark, but missing the light that was meant for you. So today, if something small and strange crosses your path, a sudden bird, a flicker in your peripheral vision, a shiver down your spine when someone speaks your name, and brush it off. Let it in. Let it speak. And if you feel brave enough to name it, share in the comments, "I see the signs. I am awake." That may be the moment everything changes. Sometimes, life has a strange way of shifting when we're just about ready to give up. Libra, you may not realize it yet, but within the next 7 days, something significant is on its way to you, not just a message or a moment, but a real, tangible turning point. It might come dressed as something small: a letter in the mail, a text that seems random, a job opportunity that appears when you're closing your laptop for good. Or it may feel more intense: a conversation you weren't expecting, a contract that appears after weeks of silence, or a phone call that changes everything. Regardless of how it arrives, it will not be accidental. In astrology, timing is never coincidence. The sacred geometry of transits, degrees, and alignments creates ripple effects in your life. And Libra, right now, your ruling planet Venus is preparing the ground for something heartfelt and honest to grow, but often, something must fall away first. The tarot shows this clearly: the Tower, that moment of sudden change, breakdown, or clarity, often shakes us without warning. But the card that follows, the Star, is the one most forget to expect. It's the healing that only arrives when everything false has crumbled. It is the rebirth, the recalibration. And it is beautiful. That's what's coming for you. But like all gifts from the universe, it arrives disguised as a challenge first. You may cry. You may feel like you're losing your balance. But tears don't mean weakness, they mean release. They are the soul's way of clearing space, like rain washing away the dust so something new can take root. The law of attraction reminds us that like attracts like. But more importantly, it teaches us that we must become the energetic match for what we desire. That means if you're asking for peace, love, purpose, or stability, then sometimes life has to move away everything that doesn't align with that frequency, even if it's painful. The closed door is not rejection. It's redirection. The lost opportunity may not be loss at all, but the clearing of a path for something more aligned, more nourishing, more deeply yours. And here's the key: this next moment in your life won't be about striving, it'll be about noticing. About being awake enough to see when a door creaks open, when a message is not just a message, but a thread to follow. This is not the time to sleepwalk through your routine. This is the time to tune in. Don't dismiss small moments. Don't ignore quiet signs. The miracle will not arrive with fireworks. It will arrive in a whisper. Some of the most powerful moments in our lives are ones we almost overlooked. The job offer that came after rejection. The friend that showed up after a heartbreak. The door that opened the very week we were ready to stop knocking. Think back, has that happened to you before? If so, share your story below. Someone else might be standing on the edge of doubt right now, and your words could be the light they need. What I'm asking of you now is to hold space for the unknown, not with fear, but with curiosity. Let these next 7 days unfold without trying to control them. Stay present. Listen. Watch. Let your heart be still enough to recognize what is yours when it arrives. And when the moment comes, as I deeply sense it will, say yes. Step forward. Because this, Libra, is the part of your story where destiny stops waiting and starts unfolding. It's easy to forget, especially when days feel heavy and the world asks so much of you, that you were never meant to live a life of quiet repetition. Libra, your energy was not created to simply survive, it was designed to transform, to uplift, to realign the paths of those who came before you and those who will come after. In the language of astrology, your sign represents the scales, but not just in the sense of justice. Libra is the soul bridge between generations. You carry a sacred assignment, whether you've named it yet or not. Your presence, your decisions, even your healing, especially your healing, are part of a legacy greater than you can imagine. When people speak of generational patterns, they often mean the pain that passes through family lines. But what they forget is that healing passes too. And you, dear Libra, are the one chosen to change the tone of that story. You're the one meant to break the cycles of scarcity, fear, and silence, not through battle, but through grace. Through choosing alignment over approval. Through loving without losing yourself. Through standing still long enough to remember your own truth. And here's the gift wrapped inside that assignment: abundance. But not the kind that simply fills your wallet. This is the kind that fills your soul, too. Financial energy is beginning to shift in your chart, and what's especially powerful is that 3 separate streams are forming. The first will come from something deeply aligned with who you really are: a passion turned into purpose, a skill finally recognized, or a quiet idea that refuses to stay silent anymore. The second is more subtle. Support will come from another soul, whether as a collaboration, a referral, or an opportunity offered just when you need it most. And the third? It's unexpected. A windfall, a gift, or a number that shows up with divine precision. 111, 222, 333, whispering that the universe is fully awake to your becoming. In matters of love, the message is no less profound. If your heart has been walking alone, prepare for connection, not one that burns quickly, but one that hums with resonance. This is a person who mirrors your inner music, who makes silence feel full and presence feel effortless. If you're already sharing your life with someone, the dynamic will shift. It may feel subtle at first, but the bond is strengthening, not out of duty, but out of rediscovery. Soul-level love requires truth, and truth is rising now. Your body, too, is speaking, and it deserves your ear. There are whispers in the heart space and abdomen, two areas deeply connected to intuition and emotional processing. Magnesium-rich foods, leafy greens, and omega-3s can support these energy centers. A simple practice each morning: deep breathing for 5 minutes, warm lemon water with honey, can invite in clarity and gentle detoxification. If you feel drawn to crystals, consider working with amethyst for emotional stability or selenite for energetic cleansing. Let their stillness remind you of your own. More than anything, Libra, please remember, you were never meant to walk a straight, predictable path. You were meant to dance with the divine unknown. To carry the wisdom of your ancestors, and the dreams of your descendants, and still make space to write a story entirely your own. If you've ever doubted your worth, this is your reminder. You are not here by accident. Your energy is needed. Your choices matter. And if any part of this message resonated deeply, let that be your confirmation. You are the one they've been waiting for. Libra, if you've made it here to the end of this message, then I know something sacred has already begun shifting within you. You didn't stumble across this video by accident. You were called. And if your heart whispered even once, "This feels like it's speaking directly to me," then I want you to pause and take a deep breath, because that whisper is the very proof that you are being chosen for more. You see, divine purpose doesn't wait until you're perfect. God doesn't choose the strongest, the most confident, or the most successful. God chooses the honest ones. The ones who still show up even when they're afraid. The ones who've been through fire but refuse to let the flames define them. You are not being chosen because you have it all figured out. You are being chosen because you've lived with your heart open, and that is what makes you ready. So many of us look for signs in the sky, hoping the stars will give us permission to begin. But what if I told you the sign is not out there, it's in here, right in your chest, beating, yearning, glowing quietly beneath the noise? What if your fear wasn't a signal to stop, but the final test before the breakthrough? Let me ask you this gently, but with love. What would happen if today, you chose to believe that everything you've been through was leading here? That every tear, every delay, every restless night was shaping you for the exact purpose you are about to step into? What if the only thing still missing was your full yes? This is your chance to say it aloud, not just with words, but with intention, with energy, with faith. I invite you right now to anchor this energy by commenting below, "I am ready. I step out of fear. I walk into the light of my calling." And if this resonates in your spirit, let those words echo beyond the screen and into your day. I created this space here at Zodiac Whisper Tarot to be more than just a place for predictions. I created it to be a sacred circle, where healing begins and where souls awaken. Your likes, your comments, your subscriptions, they are not just numbers, they are energy exchanges. They tell the universe, yes, I'm open. I want more of this. And I want you to know, from the deepest place in my heart, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up for yourself. This journey we're on together is not about escaping life's challenges, it's about remembering that you have the power to transform them. Every card drawn, every alignment revealed, every message delivered, is another step toward your sovereignty. The miracles that are coming are not external rewards, they are reflections of your inner alignment. When you shift inside, the world around you has no choice but to follow. So I ask you one final question, Libra, and don't answer it for me, answer it for you. Are you willing to believe that what's waiting for you is greater than what's behind you? Because I see you. I see the light you've been hiding. I see the potential you've been afraid to name. And more than anything, I see the moment arriving where the thing that has never happened to anyone finally happens to you. This time, you won't run. You won't doubt. You'll stand in your truth. You'll say yes. And when you do, you won't just step into your destiny. You'll become it. I'm so honored to walk this path with you. If you found value in this message, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe so we can continue to walk this journey of awakening together. This is Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and your light is welcome here. Always.